This is Roy Spearman, and you're tuned into Royal Affairs, and I'm one of your guides sharing with you affairs done right. Let's talk about the definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. In your relationship, if you've been doing the same things over and over and over again and just repeating those cycles, change may be necessary to get out of that rut. So sometimes a change of scenery is afforded by travel. You can change the weather, you can change time zone, you can change the atmosphere. It's all within you and your boo's grasp. And Yolanda touched on these masterfully last week as a great way to remove our hats that we wear every day and reconnect as a part of the healing process. But consider this: can I be an active change agent in my change of scenery scenario? Consider maybe incorporating a change in what? A change in intensity as well. So maybe you and your life boo have been on vacations without the kids or family, or maybe had the occasional solo date nights, but what did you do to turn up the heat? How hard did you lean into the conversation? How focused were you on the needs and wants of that other person, your spouse? Wait a minute, a little bit closer to home. How committed were you to bringing the best version of yourself? Sure, you've made an attempt, but did you determine and settle in with some intentionality to change the intensity? Were you determined to take your shot? So some of you may know the NBA player Kevin Durant and his free throw attempt routine. He would approach the line, bounce the ball, and then do this little shimmy shakedown before taking the shot. Okay, maybe I need to go back a little bit further. So some of you may remember the NBA great Karl Malone, who would bounce the ball and mouth words that were just syllables and sometimes just unintelligible for the rest of us. And then he would take his shot. All that to say, both of those gentlemen calmed themselves, focused on the task at hand, tuned out the distractions, the noise, everyone screaming and hollering and holding up signs and doing whatever they wanted to do in the stands. They tuned out the distractions and the noise and took the shot. So maybe this is an opportunity to settle in, breathe, focus, and take your shot at changing the intensity. Okay, that's a thought. Now, consider maybe also a change in focus. So, how about a change in focus? Some folks may say, I'll take change in focus for 200, Alex, for all my Jeopardy fans out there. So you may have found yourself kind of mumbling under your breath, well, she don't insert your favorite, post-traumatic event complaint, or he don't never insert your favorite, post-infidelity criticism. But here's the kicker though. There's only so much that's in your control. And he or she is not one of those items that's on the control and menu option. So, but there is one thing that you can do. You can control and manage you. That's right. You can control you. So maybe that's the focus that's needed or required. So not necessarily thinking about what the other person is or isn't doing, but what can you do? So for me personally, I've learned on vacation that I don't necessarily have to have a response or some type of witty clapback for every, comment that Yolanda may make. While on vacation, she might just be having a moment and kind of say something off the cuff. But in that moment, what do I have the opportunity to do? What do I have control of? And so that's what I try to manage, especially when we're on vacation. And you can do the same. Try it. So speaking of change, if you haven't already done so, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. And if you would like to receive more good content like this, go ahead and hit the notification button and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Good. Okay, last one, change in frequency. And I'll recommend that consumer discretion is advised on this one. So frequency is one of those things that can be changed, especially for the items that are good and that are repeatable. You may want to just repeat those again. But also change in frequency can mean as well, there may be some things that you want to possibly avoid or maybe not repeat as often. But kind of going back to repeatable items. So good things are worth repeating. And could there be too much of a good thing? But this is, again, where consumer discretion is advised. So if a good thing is something as simple as doing a check-in with your spouse while you're on vacation. And imagine this. What if you combined change in frequency with also change in intensity? So you're asking, just, hey, how are you doing? As a check-in first part of the day. Changing the intensity a bit, but also asking follow-up question as, what's contributing to you feeling that way? Or even, how long have you been feeling this way? Those are things that you could add to it to make it just a little bit more intense, as well as increasing the frequency on that. Because even with those little small things like that, if it's worth getting the positive outcome that you're looking for, then why not rinse, set, repeats? Or was it rinse, cycle, repeat? Something like that. You get my point. So, but then, of course, this doesn't mean necessarily that you have to be, what's the best word to describe it? Robotic or scripted and lack authenticity. But it should be something that, comes and generates at a time that kind of makes sense. And Roy, what do you mean when it makes sense to do it? Well, if you already set in your mind to do it, and you're looking for the right opportunity, when the right opportunity does present itself, then that's when you take your shot. That's when it makes sense. So the other thing to think about too is, well, there's a flip side of that, right? So this is when there are things that maybe you don't necessarily want to repeat. And these are those relationship blow-ups that seem to come out of left field. They come out of nowhere. These are what some people say the relationship car crashes that just seem to ruin your whole day. You're walking on eggshells and no one's speaking. There's silent treatment, and sometimes there's even just outright avoidance. And so if you were kind of in one of those situations on a vacation, you might be tempted to ask, well, why did we even come here? Some might even go further and say, we could have even had this argument at home for free. And so, well, then you're asking yourself, well, Roy, what do we do in those situations? How do we, kind of prevent those from happening? Because she did it again. Because he did it again. Now, this is where your therapist, pastor, counselors, mentors, grandma's sage wisdom come into play. This is where you need to access the most recent downloads that you received from those that have, spoken life into your situation, with whether that be skills, techniques, and even your own, self-awareness. I think this is one of the benefits of taking your skills, techniques along with you in your vacation, in your carry-on luggage. Because, spoiler alert, the change of scenery is not the end-all, be-all, fix-all when you're actually recovering from and on a healing path and using travel as a method to do that. So let me press a little bit further here. So your change of scenery does require you to take part with your skills, techniques, things that you've learned in your own self-awareness. You'll need it. Trust me, you'll need it. You want to pack this in your carry-on, and you may even want to put it in your personal item, because as you as a couple are leaving, getting in the car, on your way to the airport, at check-in, going through security, at the gate, on the plane, when you arrive at the hotel, when you get to the restaurant and gonna sit down and have a bite to eat, you're gonna need it. You feel me? You understand what I'm saying. So just know and understand that in any one of these situations, a blow up can take place. So that's why the change of scenery is just a backdrop for your active involvement. The sun, the waves, the luxury accommodations, the sweet smell in the atmosphere, and her sweet perfume and your sweet cologne still require for you to have some active involvement in your change of frequency, in your change of scenery as well. So lastly, change of intensity, change of focus, and change of frequency. Live by it. So be sure to turn in next week where we will share even more. Until then, if you like what you are hearing, then go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to make sure that you're not missing out and you want to hear more, be sure to hit that notification button and subscribe button so you too can enjoy Affairs Done Right. See you next time.